Confidentiality. As a direct support professional, I will safeguard and protect the confidentiality and privacy of the people I support. And as a direct support professional, I'm going to seek information directly from those I support regarding their wishes in how, when, and with whom any privileged information should be shared. I'm going to recognize that confidentiality agreements are subject to laws and regulations at federal levels, at state levels, as well as agency policy levels. As a direct support professional, I'm going to recognize that it may be necessary to disclose confidential information in order to prevent serious or imminent harm to the person I support or others. And I'm going to seek out qualified guidance to help clarify situations where the correct course of action is unclear to me. We have federal laws, something that we all know in this field called HIPAA, the Health Information Portability and Accountability Act, which was initially created because of discrimination in medical settings to people with AIDS and HIV. And people were being refused services and not allowed to be part of medical procedures because it was known they had this terrible disease. But beyond the history of HIPAA, we know, we're taught that as direct support professionals every year. But for direct support professionals, confidentiality is much more than that health information. We support people in the most intimate of ways, up to and including. If you're a person that's supporting somebody that has some kind of bowel protocol, you're literally bowel charting. You're looking at their movements and documenting that. That's a very private thing that should be kept between only you, that person, and whoever else needs that information, perhaps a nurse, a physician. But I'm talking even more intimate in that you're going to hear things about people's families, about their histories that are sacred and that should be kept private. And what that means, confidentiality is also about how we build trust with people. If somebody tells you something and they say, can you keep a secret? You got to be careful with that because it could be something that you might have to disclose. You never want to promise that you can keep a secret, but we have to be respectful in honoring and respecting the privacy of the people we support. In this scene, Tariq talks with this direct support professional about how to handle very sensitive medical information. Let's take a look.
Has this been going on for a while?
Just this week, but I think it's getting worse.
You really need to be seen by a doctor. We need to make that appointment. I'm not sure we could see your regular doctor today, but we could just give it a shot.
No, I can't see him. My whole family sees that doctor. What if he tells my parents about this? What if I see one of my sisters there? What would I say? I have to go somewhere else.
Okay, Tariq, I understand that you're worried about your family knowing. I hope that didn't stop you from getting treatment sooner. But you need to know that I'm here to help you. And I won't share anything with anybody unless I have to.
Good.
But I want you to understand that sometimes I have to share some things. My job has expectations. And part of it is making sure that you stay safe and healthy.
But this is personal.
I get that. I should have been clear about my role and we should have talked about this. One thing that I know for sure that I need to make sure that you get some medical care. I would have to let others in the agency know if you refuse. Because it's clear that that wouldn't be good for you and it would make you very sick.
In this scene, the direct support professional was put in a very, very awkward and difficult situation. Tariq gave incredibly sensitive and critical information about his health. The direct support professional at that point doesn't want to lose trust with Tariq because Tariq was very clear that he didn't want people to know about this situation. At the same time, the direct support professional needed to address the immediate medical needs that Tariq was experiencing. This is a situation where a direct support professional needs to balance the entire code of ethics. In this situation, the direct support professional couldn't maintain complete confidentiality and needed to look at promoting physical well-being as a much more critical point in that decision that the direct support professional made with Tariq. For a personal perspective on confidentiality, let's hear from direct support professional and program manager Nikita Smith.
Confidentiality is very important as a direct support professional. Sometimes it's easy for staff to get very comfortable with their surroundings and talk freely. And a lot of the time, the people supported, they can hear them. There have been times that I recall where, 911 has to be called, paramedics have to come, and they will need copies of the people's medical information. And when these instances come up, it's good for staff to be aware and know, like, this is a time where we are able to share this confidential information. And this has happened several times where the paramedics have been called over the past, not several times, but over the past few years, a few times where sometimes you'll have staff, or I've seen staff feel so strongly about keeping the information private that they're not even sure if they can give the information away. So I think it's really important too for staff to understand that even though you do have to protect the information, there are going to be times where you do have to give the information, and it's important for them to be able to distinguish the two. So that's a situation where you do need to give the information most of the time. Then there are other instances that I can recall where a person was prescribed something, and when staff are thinking that they're not doing anything wrong and they're calling the person to come get the medication, they might say it out loud, and they might say, hey, you want to come get your creams, but they might say what the cream is. The person will become very offended and not want people knowing their business. And I have seen that happen. And that had to be corrected. And it is very important because we wouldn't want our medical information just called across the room, or we would want our privacy. So we have to give the people we support the same respect, even applying the medications in the common area. If someone's in the living room, I've seen staff come out, and just to make it easier, instead of bringing the person back to the med room, they might want to quickly do the eye drops or whatever it is in the living room in front of everybody and think that it's no big deal. But it's very invasive to do that, and the person might feel uncomfortable and might not want everyone to know that they're getting their eye drops in front of everybody. So there are a lot of little small instances that don't seem harmful that DSPs, direct support professionals, should be aware of and understanding of this code of ethics of confidentiality, so that they don't make those types of mistakes, and so that the people feel more comfortable, just like we would want to feel when it comes to any of our medical or private information.